Hi guys, welcome to my channel. This is Andy Media TV welcoming you on Trending Stories. A few days ago, there was flood disaster in Maiduguri, in Jere community, and other parts of Borno State in Nigeria. And this flooding, according to an unconfirmed report, that 37 people lost their lives and over 1 million people were displaced. This happened on Tuesday night when families in their homes, sleeping in the night, and suddenly there was a rise in water in their homes, and many screamed for help, and some of them were unfortunate, to lose their life. So this is a cause for concern. The flooding was reportedly as a result of a collapse of Alau Dam. This dam was established, to provide potable water for the community and also water for irrigation services to improve agricultural production. But the collection of water in this dam got to the point that probably the dam was unable to hold the water and then collapsed, and then the water came out and began to flood the entire community. This flooding affected not just the city centers, including the zoos where animals were kept. So many animals were washed out, some died, some were missing, and according to report, about 40% of the animals in this zoo in the city center was missing. Also, the flooding took over many hospitals, took over the prisons, and so many areas of the community were affected. And in the hospital, medical equipment in these hospitals were submerged, causing the losses of billions of naira. Because procuring this medical equipment like the MRI scan, and the rest of them is quite expensive. They are not cheap. That's the water was so deep that some areas was over 4 feet, it was over 6 feet, cars were submerged, and all these were as a result of collapse of this dam. So let's look at what led to this collapse. According to report, we learned that the citizens of these communities, raised an alarm based on their discovery on the dam. And this alarm went to the government. And the government assured them that all is well. But at the end of the day, the dam collapsed. There was a report from the Minister of Water Resources claiming that the flooding was as a result of climate change, unquote. Because once there is any little disaster of this nature, it's been likened to climate change. But from the people living within the area, they said that the dam collapsed. Must we always tie every flooding to climate change when people has failed, to perform their responsibility? And the problem is, who will be held accountable? In the history of Nigeria, when things of this nature happen, nothing happens. Nothing happens. There was prison break the other time, nobody was fired. Till date. So when situation of this happen, the citizens bear their loss. And I will pause for some few seconds, to respect those, that lost their life in this disaster. May their souls rest in peace. All right. So now we're going to take, a report on this, from the Arise News and see, what really transpired. And then we're going to come back to examine, what is in the report by the Arise News. So let's take a look at this, video, and then we'll be right back.
Well, all right, we'll continue on what's trending by taking reactions to the tragedy caused by the ravaging flood in Maiduguri, which has resulted to the death of over 30 people and the displacement of 414,000 people, where, according to the National Emergency Management Agency, the disaster occurred after the Alau Dam overflowed following heavy rains, leading to the town's worst flooding in 30 years. NEMA spokesperson said that more than 23,000 households have been hit, affecting 1 million people, adding that some of the affected are accommodated in 9 IDP camps across the state.
Yake fitowa da masifa yake shiga cikin gari, yanzu wannan ruwan gabaki ɗaya cikin gari yake tafiya har ya wuce.
Many Nigerians have reacted to the flooding, including the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last elections, Peter Obi, who in a post on X urged the federal and state governments to provide aid and relief materials to the flood victims, stating that he was saddened by the loss of lives and disruption of activities by the incident. Well, on Thursday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu approved the allocation of 108 billion naira to support states in addressing natural disasters, with each state receiving 3 billion naira to aid their efforts. Meanwhile, details on GovSpend website revealed that a sum of 171 million naira was reportedly spent by the federal government for the rehabilitation of the Alau Dam in Borno State. Well, according to the website, the sum of 23.4 million naira was disbursed on June 4th to rehabilitate the dam. Another sum of 26 million naira was disbursed on July 29th, while 122.4 million naira was spent on September 20th. The contract for rehabilitating the dam was awarded to Hamal and Partners Limited.
Welcome back. You've heard, what was reported in this video by Arise News, and I must say that it's quite disheartening. So, if the Minister of Water Resources is claiming that the flooding is as a result of climate change, why did the government spend 171 million on the dam if the dam is very okay and good? So I don't know why when situation of this happen, people start looking for an escape route on how, to cover up what the situation really is and then escape from being held accountable. So I think this is a wake-up call, not just for the affected states, but for other states in general, for their government to wake up and examine their dams, not just the dams and other infrastructure, because it's when this infrastructure collapses, the losses is quite enormous than the cost of maintaining them and making sure that they are up and running. Now, if you take a cue from probably the United States or other developed countries, the moment the winter period is over, you see trucks on the road. The department that is in charge of roads begin to fix the roads that was affected by the snow. All right, they don't wait for the road to cause accident. They don't wait for the road, to sink any vehicle before they come in to fix it. So that is a routine maintenance they do every year. Why will Nigerians be waiting? Why would they be waiting until there is flooding, until something, causes a lot of disaster and kills people and causes a lot of losses? That's when they will wake up. So the question remains, which organization or which entity was awarded the contract to maintain the dam? Where did they spend the 171 million naira? This we need to unveil. We need to know which entity received this contract, what exactly did they do, and why were they paid when the work was not properly completed or properly done. So if the maintenance of that dam was done properly, I don't think it's going to collapse. And Nigeria has this problem of maintenance. Many infrastructures of government, but they lack maintenance. Take it to the stadium, take it to buildings, take it to hospital, take it to even offices where government, public officers work. Go check out their toilets. Go check out, the gents. You're gonna see how dilapidated they are. So, and funds have been allocated for the maintenance of these structures, but it goes a different way. It ends up in people's pocket, and nothing was done. And these are the reasons why, during Obasanjo's era, his tenure as president, he has to, sell off probably most of the government-owned, apartment. That's how people bought houses in those periods, because the cost of maintaining the houses was quite high, and the houses are not even maintained, but the money disappears. So this is a very big problem when it comes to Nigeria. They lack maintenance culture. These dams were built so many years ago, and nobody cares about them. Nobody check up on them. Nobody, try to check and see, are there fractures? Are there, pressures on the dam? Is there a way? I think for me, I think if every year, I think the government is supposed to, assess all the dams and know those who already have enough water, and see if there's a way to release those waters to the farms. All right, release those waters to the farm to empty it a little bit so that it can be able to take up the next season of rain that will be coming. I think there should be a way this kind of stuff need to be done. Because if a dam continue to host water year in, year, and there'll be a point the dam will hold water above its capacity, and then he pushes it out to the community, just the way it happened in Maiduguri. So government need to wake up, do what they need to do, and save people from this kind of disaster. It's disheartening. You sleep tonight in your own apartment, You park your car outside, you sleep, all your equipment in the house and everything. You just wake up one morning, everything is gone. Your family is gone, properties are gone, just like that. And Nigeria has no culture of insurance, of insuring their properties or insuring their vehicles and all those kind of stuff. So it's a total loss. They just depend on government for whatever succor that we're giving to them. But we learned that IDPs have been established, to accommodate the affected victims of this flooding. The government agencies, the devil with this responsibility, should be able to wake up and address this immediate concern of food, shelter, the Nigeria Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, and the State Emergency Management Agency as well. And well-meaning Nigerians, should, support to provide succor for these people. They never envisaged that. Their government didn't protect them. They didn't do what they're supposed to do to see that, they live their life as normal citizens. And today, they will be remaining IDPs until things, get fixed. But more worrisome is the issue of health in the environment, because this flooding must have come with a whole lot of stuff, from the zoo, from prisons, from everywhere. So there may be an outbreak, there may be contamination of a whole lot of stuff. So I think the Ministry of Health need to come in here and be able to sanitize the city before people return back there, so to avoid outbreak of epidemics. The National Disease Control we also play a critical role in this whole situation to avoid outbreak of epidemics. If they need to spray whatever they need to spray, they need to clean up whatever they need to do, they should do it, so that if people are living in IDP camps or return back to their places, for those that still have their homes, there will be a normal life, and not that they come back and begin to contact a whole lot of sickness and diseases. And the president of the country had in the report released about 3 billion naira to the affected states. And I think these funds should be well utilized to deal with the problem. People, some of these guys just left IDPs as a result of insurgency, the Boko Haram's, problem, and back home, and now suddenly they are back, to the IDPs. I can't imagine how this affects them, their whole emotional and, physical well-being. But if government provide adequate care for them, it helps them to, bounce back and then be able to, go back to their respective homes. The IDPs, some are already, crying that they don't have spots to sleep, they don't have sleeping materials, kind of a mother with 4 children, screaming that the whole day they only took a drink, no food, and the way people scamper for food when somebody comes in to give out, there should be some, team, from the government managing this situation, so that whatever comes to the camp can be well distributed, to reach out to everyone in the camp. And I know the number is quite huge. I don't know how many IDP camps can be able to take up, the number of people that were displaced with this. And we do hope that the number of casualties, will not escalate as it is. But I know by the time the water is seen, we'll be able to know actually, what happened, and the number of lives that was lost and all that. So, but for now, unconfirmed report as saying that it's about 37 people that lost their lives and over 1 million were displaced. That's quite huge. I don't know how many IDPs government going to set up to take over 1 million people, and care for them. So even the 3 billion released to the states will not even be enough to take care of 1 million people, and raising, shelter for them in the IDPs and providing, relief materials like the blanket, the foam, and the rest of them. So it's well-meaning Nigerians, other foundations. We are, using this opportunity to ask for your support to be able to, help the citizens. I'm calling on the government, both federal and state, to wake up to their responsibilities, not waiting for disaster to happen before you come in. I mean, if we are to maintain this dam, this Alau Dam, for example, I don't think the government will spend up to 3 billion to fix whatever, may be a problem with the dam. I don't think so. And I don't think we would have lost up to 37 people. I don't think over 1 million would have been displaced by now. So why not do the right thing at the beginning? Every year, all these dams need to be, inspected. And whichever one that have issues need to be fixed. They fix it before the next rainy season. That's the right thing to do. This will help, to eliminate this kind of situation that we are seeing today. I looked at the city and everywhere was submerged. And this happened in the dead of the night, 1 a.m. when people are sleeping. So That's why the number of casualties will be high. Because sleeping on, suddenly you are submerged in water, you don't even know where your kids are, you don't even know where your wife or husband is, and so it's quite pathetic. It's quite pathetic, and many people will be flushed out, by the force of the flooding, that nobody knows where they are ending up. So I think in the next couple of weeks, families will begin to identify their loved ones who is missing, or and then we'll be able to account for a number of people that this whole stuff has affected. So government rise up, be proactive, not reactive. Doing the right thing pays a lot. It costs less to do what is right, and that's the truth. If this whole stuff was addressed prior, to the rainy season, we wouldn't have been here today talking about this disaster. So, but it wasn't. 171 million was spent to rehabilitate this dam. So, what was rehabilitated? We need to know what was rehabilitated. We really need to know which organization did the rehabilitation. What exactly did they do? Who paid them? What did you see? Did you verify what they did before payment? So, all these are part of accountability. Well, we need to hold people accountable. By now, those in charge of this dam are supposed to have ruled by now. People are supposed to have been suspended till after investigation. If they are found culpable, they are fired. And they take responsibility for the impact of this situation on innocent citizens. There's agency of government that examines, gives a kind of an update of what we are to expect in the next coming rainy season. They are there, and they mention the level of downfall. They mention areas that will be flooded and so on and so forth. They say all these things. So when these things come out, on what happens, you just hear government say people need to evacuate, and that's it. They do nothing. You forget that most of this water has flowed into the dam. Therefore, you need to proactively fix the dam, rehabilitate them, and ensure that everything is okay with the dam, that no matter the level of rainfall, the dam is capable, to collect this water and hold it. That is number one. Before you now talk about River Niger overflowing its bank, or River Benue overflowing its bank, all right? But the one that is within your control, you have to ensure that you have control over it. That's the way things are done. We don't need to wait for calamities to happen before we wake up. People have lost their lives. Families have lost their properties. These are things that can be avoided. These are human errors. These are negligence from government agencies who are saddled with this responsibility to get it fixed. So, may this not happen again. May the Ministry of Water Resources begin to take a cursory look of all the dams under their care and see the ones that need rehabilitation, the ones that need to be upgraded, the ones that need any kind of maintenance, so they can get it fixed to avoid this kind of problems. It's very important that this is done. All right. So for those living in the riverine areas, that the rivers may overflow its banks and then catch up with some communities, if they need to solidify the embankment to ensure that this river doesn't overflow, government should do it. If they need to evacuate the community ahead of time, government should do so. Support them. You don't just tell people to evacuate. To where? You need to provide some support. That's what encourages them to leave. Nobody is leaving to anywhere. They don't have anywhere to go. So they need that help. They need that support from government. It's not good enough to just ask people to evacuate, that there will be overflow of River Niger. No, evacuate to where exactly? No place to go. So that's where government comes in, help to set up a center, relocate them to that place until after the flooding period has elapsed. So these are the things that government is meant to do, to care for the welfare of their citizens, care for their security. So when all these things are lacking, that's when you see all these kind of problems coming up all the time. Government, do more than you have done. Yeah, it's a setting up the IDPs, releasing money, financial support, and other right step in the right direction. But you have to do more. Even the 3 billion will not be enough to resettle 1 million people, feed them, put shelter for them with 3 billion. It's not going to be enough for anything with the high cost of living, in the country, and the expensive nature of products, goods and services, and fuel and the rest of them. So more need to be done. This is where NGOs comes in. This is where philanthropic Nigerians comes in. This is where Nigerian billionaires comes in to support, to help humanity. That's what it is. So nobody called for this, but now we're in it. So we have to deal with it. So I do hope that the right things will be done across all dams and other rivers to ensure that we don't get ourselves in this kind of situation in any other state. And I also do hope that the company that did the rehabilitation at the dam be held accountable. And those officials that signed them off for payment will also be held responsible. Also, the citizens need to know the truth of what transpired in that state that led to this disaster. All this cover-up of climate change and all that is not going to help the situation. So we learn lessons from what happened so that we can improve in the next, coming period. So may we put into work the lessons we are learning from what is happening today so that we can avoid this kind of situation in the future. And these families will be resettled back, to their homes. Life in IDP, I don't know how to put it, but it's not something one need to experience. But I do hope government will provide the necessary support that will help them, to relocate back to their home from the IDPs when the water has gone down. The state really needs support. They really need help. This is not what just the state government is going to do alone. That's why the federal government needs to support them and help them to do what is needed to get the state back on track. And I'm going to leave it here for now. And I do hope that you share your comments in the comment section, and then like my videos, and then share it and put on your notification so that when the next video comes up, you will be among those to be notified. I want to say thank you for coming to my channel, and thank you for watching this video, and thank you for your comment, and I'll see you in my next video.